All right, coming to you live from the UT Stadium in Austin at DevOps Days. I'm here with Jason Hansen of Deis. Hey Jason, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
I am doing well.
Excellent.
So Deis, if I'm not mistaken, that's Latin for platform, isn't it?
It is.
Yes, all those years of schooling paid off. Plus, thankfully, you told me ahead of time. So what is Deis?
So Deis is an open source platform as a service. We've been based traditionally on the CoreOS stack, and with Deis Workflow, we've re-platformed on top of Kubernetes. So what we bring to the Kubernetes cluster is a set of PaaS functionalities. So source to image, so you can push your code to the platform. We'll build a container object and then deploy that as a Kubernetes application. You can push a Docker file to us. We'll build the Docker image on cluster and manage that application, as well as being able to point us to a remote Docker image. So if that's coming out of a Jenkins pipeline or your CI/CD pipeline, whatever that happens to be, we can take that artifact and deploy it into the cluster. We do cross-pod log aggregation, release and rollback, some authentication and authorization pieces, so you can use a simple CLI to interact with the cluster.
So just to get a better idea of where you play in the ecosystem, if we did a bit of a Venn diagram, for example, I'll throw some names at you, how do you compare to, say, a Cloud Foundry? Do you overlap? Do you touch? Do you complementary?
Right. So from the aspect of being a platform as a service, we have high degree of overlap. That first workflow that I talked about, the build pack based workflow, you can actually use, it's based on build packs, which is what you use to package applications in the context of Cloud Foundry. Now, with respect to the underlying bits and the architecture of the platform, we aim to be a much lighter layer and a thinner layer. Many of the folks who are deploying us find that you can get up and running in 5 minutes, where that might not be true with the Cloud Foundry-based deploy. As well, the platform itself is built as a set of microservices, so in your specific environment, you can customize the components as you need. So very lightweight. Underneath the covers, the scheduling and orchestration is satisfied by Kubernetes. So all of the improvements of that come through the Kubernetes ecosystem are almost immediately available to you as a platform deployer in the context of Deis Workflow. Whereas with Cloud Foundry is all based on Barton, their own sort of containerization and scheduling platform.
So how would you see Deis evolving as you go forward? What are some of your plans?
So a lot of the things, we're finding as folks are deploying this PaaS sort of set, right, this change in mindset into their organization, they've got a lot of legacy applications. So how do you, and legacy data tiers that they don't feel necessarily comfortable running in the context of container workload yet. We hope that that'll change over time, and that's one of the reasons that we bet on Kubernetes, is we think that over time Kubernetes will be able to satisfy and run a lot of your data critical workloads. But in the meantime, it really means that you're sort of living in this hybrid sort of environment where you've got traditional IT stack stuff like Chef, Ansible, Puppet, SaltStack, managing and running your data workloads. One of the projects we're going to work on post-stable of Deis Workflow is Service Broker. So that will use the Cloud Foundry Service Broker API to connect workflow managed applications in the context of the Kubernetes cluster to off-cluster resources. We'll also wrap that up so that it can call out to Helm, which is a Kubernetes native package manager, so that you'll be able to deploy and manage those backing services in the context of the Kubernetes cluster as well. So it's really integrative, right? Allow an organization to take baby steps toward moving all of their workloads into the context of the Kubernetes cluster. Along with that, CI/CD is very important. We run into a lot of folks who have extant pipelines. We'll be working on a project that's like pipelines, or Brigade is one of the things we're calling it internally, that allows you to integrate your CI pipeline into the Deis platform in a more sort of holistic way and have multi-stages, steps, deploy, fan out, fan back in, stuff like that. So a couple of the exciting projects that we've got. In addition to using Kubernetes technologies as they become stable, or are marked stable by upstream. So for 1.2 and 1.3, that looks like jobs and deployments. So we'll refactor the platform to use the best practices that come out of Kubernetes itself.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jason Hansen, thanks so much.